Shalom Aleichem. We are sitting in the Baal Shem Tov forest. No, we didn't make up this name. This is really the name. In between Tzfat and Miron, the beautiful backyard of the Tanaim. Around us, all around us, are Kivrei Tzadikim, Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. In these lands, the secrets of Torah were studied and learned and passed on from generation to generation. And today we're going to talk about the Baal Shem Tov. So, the Baal Shem Tov, very mysterious and deep and holy tzaddik, Zchuto Tagen Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Amen. We learn in the parasha that when you say the name of a tzaddik, you always bless him. Baal Shem Tov was really raised in the forests. Baal Shem Tov was born to his father Rabbi Eliezer and Sarah when they were 100 years old, just like the story of our parasha with Avraham Avinu and Yitzchak. Long story, the father of the Baal Shem Tov was a very big tzaddik, very hidden tzaddik, and at age 100 they had their son, Israel. His father passed away very shortly after he was born, when he was very young. And the tzava'ah, the heritage, the inheritance that he left his son, was he called over his son and he said, "My dear son, Israel, I won't be able to raise you, I'm leaving this world, but I want to tell you two things. First is never be scared of anything or anyone, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the second is love every single Jew, like he's your brother." This was the legacy that the Baal Shem Tov's father gave him, passed on. And the Baal Shem Tov raised himself in the Carpathian Mountains in Russia. He used to spend days and days and weeks in the forests, not being scared of anything, building his relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, studying Torah. But the story of the Baal Shem Tov really goes back. This is before the Baal Shem Tov. This is a story that happened in Tzfat. In Tzfat lived a simple Jew, wasn't too much of a scholar. Obviously a lot of Yirat Shamayim and did the mitzvot. And this Jew had one thing that he was excellent in, one quality, was privacy, tzniut. That means that he kept his matters between him and God extremely private. If he did something good, he didn't boast, he didn't talk, he didn't say, God knows, and then that's the only thing that's important. And this was his custom his whole life. In Shamayim, this behavior of this Jew was very impressive, and they decided to send him Eliyahu Navi to teach him the secrets of the Torah, to bring him in. So one night, after this Jew does Tikkun Chatzot, he hears a knock on his door. Who is it? Eliyahu Navi. Okay, he's a simple Jew. Baruch haba, come in. Eliyahu Navi tells him, I was sent from Shamayim to teach you the secrets of the Torah. Fantastic. But I just want to ask you for one thing first. Just something, a good deed that you did on the day of your Bar Mitzvah. I want you to please tell me what it was. So this Jew looks at Eliyahu Navi and says, listen, I'm a simple Jew, but this is something that I've done my whole life. I don't talk about my good deeds. I keep them private between me and God. So I'm sorry, I will have to reject your offer. I cannot tell you what I did. And poof, Eliyahu Navi disappears. This now even did a bigger noise in Shamayim, that this person is so loyal to his custom, to his tzniut within him and Hashem, that the next night Eliyahu Navi comes knocking on his door again. This guy opens the door and says, okay, I'm here to teach you, no conditions. And he taught him, and this guy became a master in all the secrets of the Torah, the hidden, the revealed. But he continued his minag. No one in the world knew about this. On the outside, he kept on the same exterior, the same behavior, and he actually died being absolutely mysterious and no one ever knew about him. This was the Gilgul of the Baal Shem Tov. This was the Neshama of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov came into the world after that. And naturally, he continued on the same path of tzniut, of privacy, of knowing who he was. He joined a very mysterious society of tzaddikim. This was a society that has been going on, a secret society within Judaism for hundreds or thousands of years, of people that are Ovdei Hashem, tzaddikim, that keep everything private. They would have private meetings in the forest, private shuls. On the outside, they were simple wagon drivers or farmers, tailors, whatever they were. But these people were full of the Torah and studying and teaching. They had missions where they met each other and decided on different cities that they had to approach and strengthen Judaism in different places. There's a whole culture and a whole society. The Baal Shem Tov had a Rebbe, his name was Adam, Rabbi Adam Baal Shem Tov, he was his Rebbe. And at age 18, his Rebbe passed away. He became the head of the 36 hidden tzaddikim at age 18, which was very real and very awesome, and we can't imagine the level, the spiritual level and stature that he was on. He stayed hidden. Obviously, we're skipping many stories on the way. He married. This is important because we're going to read B'ezrat Hashem these letters. The way he got married was very mysterious. When he was living where he was, over there in Ukraine, his job was he was a teacher for kids in Gan, teaching Aleph Bet, purest of the pure. Anyone that's ever been to a kindergarten teaching kids Aleph Bet you can't get more pure than that. It's like the man. It's like little kids with pe'ot saying Aleph Bet Gimel. There's no Yetzer Hara, there's no nothing. It's just purity, just light, Hashem's light. And this is the Baal Shem Tov's work, working with these kids. And one day, a very big tzaddik came into town, and the Baal Shem Tov saw Baruch HaKodesh that this tzaddik is his father-in-law, that he's going to marry his daughter. So he went and introduced himself to this tzaddik in privacy, and he revealed his level to him, and this tzaddik was absolutely blown away by his level. He's never met anyone like him. Level in knowledge of Torah and Yirat Shamayim, hidden, revealed. He was higher than anything he's ever seen. And the Baal Shem Tov told him that I see in Ruach HaKodesh that I'm supposed to marry your daughter. And this guy said, 100%, I agree with you. And the Baal Shem Tov said, okay, let's make engagement right now. And he said, okay. So they took out some lechaim and they made an engagement. And he said, I insist that we write shtat naim, that means an engagement agreement. And they wrote this agreement with witnesses, everything. And great. And this rabbi, a couple of days later, continued his journey home. On the way home, he passed away, this rabbi. And months go by. One day, the Baal Shem Tov shows up in this other town, and he goes to the house of the rabbi, who now passed away. And in this house is living Rabbi Gershon Kitov, who was now the rabbi, who was the son of the rabbi, and his sister, who was the future wife of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov is dressed like a regular farmer, obviously everything very, very hidden. Pretends like he doesn't even know how to read and write. And he goes into Rabbi Gershon and he says, Shalom Aleichem. Rabbi Gershon was probably wanting to give him like some tzedakah. And he said, no, I'm not here for tzedakah, I'm here. And he takes out this letter. He says, here. And Rabbi Gershon reads this letter, and this is an engagement contract that his father signs. He recognizes it with this man to his sister. And he can't believe it. But his father was the Holy of Holies, Kodesh Kodeshim. He sure knew what he did. So he agrees and he says, okay, you're going to marry my sister. And the Baal Shem Tov meets the girl. And in privacy, he obviously reveals his level to her, but he makes her swear that no one in the world knows, only her. And to the outside, he's acting like a regular, ignorant wagon driver or whatever it was. And his brother-in-law he feels so bad for his sister, the tzaddiket, the gentle, the soft one, the amazing one. She was going to marry the next Gadol Ador, and now she's married to this. But what could he do? He's torn in what could he do? It's his father's will. So he decides to maybe try to teach the Baal Shem Tov some Torah, but the Baal Shem Tov ignores him. He's not interested in anything, and this totally breaks Rabbi Gershon's heart. So a couple months later, they get married, and they decide to he gives him a house somewhere in the woods. And he just goes to live in the woods, him and his new wife. It's too much for Rabbi Gershon to see his sister in such pain. And in the woods, Baal Shem Tov obviously went back to his Avodat Hashem, flourishing, Bodedut. He would come home every Shabbat. He would spend the week in the woods. And they would earn a living by selling clay, and they lived a very simple life, obviously. And this was the case till age 36. At age 36, that's when the Baal Shem Tov knew that he had to be revealed. He revealed himself also to his brother-in-law. And all these things are amazing stories. I recommend reading them inside. My stories don't do justice to the beauty and kedusha. I recommend everyone get a Baal Shem Tov storybook and read about his life. But we're just doing this as an intro to get to this letter.